We are the most restless species this planet has ever produced. From the moment we stood upright, we moved. Across plains, across oceans, across deserts that had no end. We have always been a species that points at the horizon and says, "What is over there?" But there is one horizon that has always sat just beyond our reach. One frontier so vast, so silent, so utterly indifferent to our ambition, that even the greatest explorers in human history could only stand at its edge and stare. The question is, how far have we actually gone? Most people assume that after more than 60 years of space exploration, humanity must have ventured deep into the cosmos. We have launched thousands of satellites. We have sent probes to the very edge of our solar system. We have pointed our telescopes at galaxies 13 billion light-years away. But when it comes to human beings, actual people made of bone and blood and breath, the answer to how far we have traveled is both astonishing and humbling. Because the truth is, we have barely left, and understanding what it actually took to get even this far, is one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of our species. If you are someone who looks at the night sky and wonders how far our reach truly goes, Beyond the Cosmos is your channel. Subscribe right now and turn on your notifications, because every week we go deeper into the universe. Its distances, its dangers, and the audacious human beings who refuse to stop reaching. Now, let's trace every mile. It began not with a giant leap, but with a single orbit. The first human being to leave Earth did not travel far by any cosmic measure. He circled our planet once, barely skimming the upper edge of the atmosphere, at an altitude that, if you drove it in a car on a flat road, you could reach in under 2 hours. And the world stopped. Every radio in every city, every television, every pair of eyes that could find a screen or a speaker. Because no human being had ever done that before. No one had ever looked down at the curve of the Earth and seen it for what it truly is. A single, small, breathtaking world suspended in an ocean of nothing. That moment changed everything. Within a decade, humans were standing on the surface of another world. The moon sits roughly 384,000 kilometers from Earth. To put that in perspective, if you could drive to the moon at highway speed without stopping, it would take you approximately 5.5 months. And yet, in the context of space, it is our closest neighbor. But getting there required technology, courage, and sacrifice that the world had never seen before. 12 human beings walked on that ancient surface. They drove across its gray plains. They brought pieces of it home. And then, for reasons that still sting, we stopped going. For over 50 years, the moon has remained the farthest any human being has ever physically traveled from Earth. The moon, our closest cosmic neighbor, remains the absolute boundary of human presence in space. In the decades since those final lunar footsteps, human spaceflight has remained closer to home than most people realize. The International Space Station, where astronauts from around the world have lived and worked continuously for over 25 years, orbits Earth at an altitude of roughly 400 kilometers. That is less than the distance between many major cities. You could drive it in under 4 hours. From the window of the space station, Earth fills the view. It is close enough to see weather systems forming, close enough to watch city lights appear as darkness falls across the continents below. The astronauts living there are not out in the deep dark of space. They are, by any cosmic standard, barely off the ground. And yet, what they do there matters enormously. The science conducted in that lab has advanced medicine, materials research, and our understanding of how the human body responds to life without gravity. The next major destination humanity has set its sights on is a world that, at its closest approach to Earth, sits somewhere between 56 and 100 million kilometers away. At its farthest, that distance stretches to over 400 million kilometers. A crewed mission using the technology being developed today would take somewhere between 7 and 9 months. One way. The crew would be gone for potentially 2 to 3 years. They would be so far from Earth that a radio signal sent at the speed of light would take up to 20 minutes to arrive, and 20 minutes more to receive a reply. There would be no calling home in a crisis, no rescue mission, no turning back if something goes wrong. Just a small crew, in a small vessel, surrounded by hundreds of millions of kilometers of absolute silence. And beyond that, the distances become almost impossible to hold in the mind. The outer edge of our solar system, the boundary where the sun's influence finally yields to open interstellar space, sits roughly 20 billion kilometers from Earth. The fastest spacecraft humanity has ever launched has been traveling for over 40 years and is only now crossing that threshold. With human beings on board, using any technology we currently possess, that same journey would take thousands of years. And the nearest star beyond our own? At the speed of light, the absolute cosmic speed limit, it would take over 4 years to reach. We have not gone far at all. Not yet. So why does it matter? Because every great journey in human history began with a single step that seemed impossible at the time. The first humans to cross open ocean in wooden boats had no guarantee they would find land on the other side. The first explorers to push into unmapped continents had no idea what waited in the interior. They went anyway, not because it was safe, not because success was certain, but because something in the human spirit finds it impossible to stop at the edge of the unknown and simply turn around. Space is the greatest unknown our species has ever faced, and we are, right now in this decade, at the very beginning of learning how to cross it. New rockets capable of carrying humans farther than we have gone in 50 years are being tested. Engineers are designing habitats that can sustain life on other worlds. Scientists are solving the medical challenges of long-duration spaceflight, one discovery at a time. The generation that walks on another world beyond the moon, that may already be alive. The engineers who will build the ships to take them, many of them are already working. The technology that will shrink those impossible distances into something survivable. It is being invented right now in laboratories and test facilities all over this planet. We have not gone far. The moon is the farthest any human being has ever stood from the world that made them. By any honest measurement of cosmic distance, we have taken one tentative step outside our front door and called it an adventure. But here is what I want you to hold on to. That first step off the ground, that first orbit, that first footprint on another world. Those were not small things. They were the hardest things our species had ever done. And we did them. We looked at the impossible, and we turned it into history. The universe is 93 billion light-years across. We have traveled 384,000 kilometers of it with human beings. The math is humbling. If tonight gave you a new sense of just how enormous this journey really is, hit that like button. It means more to this channel than you know, and it helps these stories reach the people who need to hear them. Subscribe to Beyond the Cosmos, and join us every week as we explore the distances, the discoveries, and the human spirit that refuses to stop reaching. Turn on your notifications. The universe is moving, and so are we. And leave a comment below. The cosmos is beyond us, until it isn't. See you out there.